Rachel's mother walked into my kitchen like she owned the place, her heels echoing off the old tile I laid myself last spring. She gave a half smile, eyes sweeping the rustic cabinets like they smelled of poverty. I was carving the ham, sleeves rolled up, when she let out a breathy fake laugh and said, smells like someone tried really hard. My name's Tom. I'm 37. I live in Bedford, Indiana, in the old farmhouse my granddad left me. Spent the last 3 years fixing it up with my own hands. Every board, nail, and wire. Rachel stood by the dining room, laughing too loud at something Cole said. He was new, slick haircut, navy blazer, same damn one Rachel gave me back when she still thought I'd cave and work for her dad's firm in Indy. She yanked it back from the closet a week later after I told her no. Now, here it was, on this guy. I brought the ham to the table, right beside the rosemary potatoes and green bean casserole I started at 6 that morning. I poured Cynthia a glass of wine, and she said, so thoughtful. You know, Cole's the type of man who actually has ambition. Rachel didn't look at me. She just adjusted a candle. I said nothing and kept serving. Polite host, that's what they'd expect. But what they didn't know, what none of them knew, was that every room in this house had been recording audio for months. Ever since Rachel got wasted last summer and muttered something about her mom having plans to fix our marriage. I played dumb. Let them play out the plan. Cole's a junior partner already, Cynthia gushed, beaming. Can you believe that? At his age? She didn't ask me how the shop was doing. Didn't care that I'd rebuilt 3 Mustangs and a Chevelle this year alone. I made sure everyone had a full plate before I sat down. The old farmhouse table creaked under the weight of it all. Martin, Rachel's dad, nodded toward the ham. Looks good, Tom. Only real thing said to me all night. I caught Rachel's eyes for a second. She looked away, quick, guilty maybe, or just annoyed I was still here. Cole buttered a roll, looking too comfortable. I wiped my hands on the towel over my shoulder, smiling like nothing was wrong. But I knew exactly what was happening. This wasn't a dinner, it was a test run, and I was about to make sure they failed. Rachel stood and clinked her glass with a forced little smile. Let's all take a second to thank Tom for dinner, she said, glancing around the table like she was hosting a corporate event. Really delicious, Cynthia chimed in, setting down her fork. And such a warm home. A little rustic, but full of character. She sipped her wine, then turned to Cole like she was teeing up a speech. We're just so lucky to have Cole here tonight. He's a junior partner now at Martin's firm. Brilliant young man. And more importantly, she paused, smiled too wide. He's interested in starting a family someday. I smiled back, took a bite of ham, and let that one hang. Sophie jumped in from across the table, swirling her wine. And he's not afraid of commitment, which you don't see much these days. Her eyes didn't leave mine when she said it. Cole gave this awkward little laugh and coughed into his napkin. Well, yeah. Eventually. That's the plan. I leaned back in my chair and looked at him. So, what kind of law you practice, Cole? He hesitated just long enough to notice. Mostly family law, he said. Divorce cases, custody disputes, that kind of stuff. I raised my glass and gave him a nod. How convenient. Rachel stiffened next to me, fiddling with the napkin in her lap. Cole took another drink like he didn't know what else to do with his hands. Sophie grinned. And he comes from old money, too. His grandfather started some investment group in Connecticut, right? Yeah, real estate investment. Mostly commercial properties, Cole mumbled. Impressive, Cynthia said, lifting her eyebrows like she was giving me one last chance to take the hint. I kept smiling, chewed slow. Let them think I was swallowing it. Inside, I was cataloging every word, matching Cole's name to the search history on Rachel's laptop, remembering the 3 Uber charges on her secret card from back in October that ended a block away from Cole's building. I'd screenshot them, saved the receipts, just like I saved the email she sent to her sister, telling her she was finally meeting someone who gets it. Cole sat up straighter, like he wanted to jump in again. It's really great to be here, honestly. Rachel told me a lot about this place. And it's beautiful, really. Thanks, I said. It's an old house, but it's solid. Just takes the right kind of work. Cynthia cut in again, chin high. Rachel deserves someone who supports her ambitions, someone who shares a vision. That's what makes a strong partnership. Sophie nodded. Exactly. Real partnership means growth, not just staying stuck in, well, habits. I wiped my mouth and laid the napkin down. You know, I said, looking directly at Cole, it takes a lot of confidence to walk into a man's house, sit at his table, and play pretend like this. Cole's jaw tightened just a little. He didn't respond. Rachel shot me a look, eyes warning, but she didn't speak, didn't defend him, or me. Cynthia leaned forward, her voice soft, sweet, and sharp. Tom, don't take everything so personally. We just want what's best for Rachel. I smiled at her like I had no idea what she meant. Me too, I said. Inside, I was replaying audio from 3 weeks ago. Cynthia, on the phone in the guest room with her voice low, whispering about transitioning Rachel out. I had the whole thing, every word. Rachel passed the gravy like nothing was happening. Cole made some joke about traffic on I-70 that no one laughed at. And I sat there smiling, checking things off in my head, texts, bank logs, voice memos, building the picture they thought I couldn't see. They thought I'd go quietly. Let them plan their little replacement strategy and sit back like it wasn't happening right in front of me. Not a chance. I set my glass down slow and looked at Cynthia. You keep talking about this house like it's some kind of starter place, I said. Just to be clear, I own it outright. The table went quiet. Cynthia blinked. Well, yes, but Rachel... No, I said, still calm. Not Rachel, me. My grandfather signed it over years before I got married. It's not marital property. Cole frowned and glanced at Rachel. I thought you said this was your family home. Rachel opened her mouth, then closed it. I mean, it's ours, she said. We live here together. Sure, I said, but ownership matters, especially in your line of work. Cynthia cleared her throat. Rachel has contributed plenty, emotionally and otherwise. I nodded. Emotionally, sure. Financially, she pays no mortgage, never has. Cole shifted in his seat. No mortgage? Nope, I said. House was free and clear before she ever moved in. Rachel laughed nervously. Tom, this isn't really the time to get into... She insisted on paying something, I continued, cutting in. So, I charge her symbolic rent, her idea. Said it helped her pride. Sophie scoffed. You make your wife pay rent? That's disgusting. It's $200, I said. She picked the number. Rachel's face flushed. That was just a formality. Exactly, I said. A formality, like a receipt. Keeps things clean. Cole stared down at his plate. I didn't realize... Cynthia's smile tightened. This feels unnecessary, Tom. I disagree, I said. Seems like we're all learning a lot tonight. Rachel reached for her wine, missed the stem, and grabbed it again. You're making it sound transactional. Marriage involves transactions, I said. Time, trust, money. Pretending otherwise is how people get blindsided. Sophie leaned forward. This is petty. I looked at her. Just practical. Like the prenup Rachel signed. That one landed hard. Martin finally looked up from his food. Cynthia froze, eyes locked on me. Rachel whispered, Why would you bring that up? Because we're talking about futures, I said, and replacements. Cole swallowed. There's a prenup? Very clear one, I said. Written by your firm, actually. All assets stay with their original owners, no gray areas. Cynthia's jaw clenched. That document was meant to protect both of you. And it does, I said. Perfectly. Rachel tried to smile at Cole. It's just paperwork. It doesn't define anything. Paperwork defines a lot, I said. Ask any lawyer. Cole leaned back, rubbing his jaw. I was under the impression Rachel was more established here. She is, I said, emotionally invested, decorated the guest room, picked paint colors. Sophie snapped, You're enjoying this. I shrugged. I'm correcting the record. Rachel stood halfway from her chair, then sat back down. You're twisting things. I'm listing facts, I said. That house deed, the rent transfers, the prenup. Cynthia slammed her hand lightly on the table. Enough. I met her eyes. You wanted to talk about ambition, about stability. I figured accuracy mattered. Cole exhaled through his nose. This is not what I expected. Christmas is full of surprises, I said. Rachel reached for my arm. I pulled away and took a slow sip of my drink, letting the silence stretch while everyone stared at the table. I set my glass down again, slower this time, and let the silence work for me. Since we're already on paperwork, I said, let's finish the thought. The prenup isn't just clear, it's ironclad. Everything stays with whoever brought it in. Business, property, accounts, no wiggle room. Cynthia shook her head like she was correcting a child. That agreement doesn't erase contribution. Rachel helped grow your business. I looked at her. No, she didn't. Rachel flinched. Tom, she quit her paralegal job 4 years ago, I said evenly. Hasn't worked since. That was temporary, Cynthia snapped. She was supporting you. I paid the mortgage-free house bills, I said. Utilities, insurance, taxes, health coverage, her car, her phone, her credit cards. Rachel's hands curled into fists in her lap. You said that was fine. It was, I said. I'm just stating facts. Sophie jumped in. She helped with networking, introductions. I met my investor through a car show in Louisville, I said. Not a cocktail party. Martin shifted in his chair. Cynthia shot him a look, daring him to stay quiet. Cole leaned forward, elbows on the table. You mentioned business earlier. What exactly do you do again? Auto restoration, I said. Classic American muscle, full frame-offs, custom builds. Cynthia waved her hand. It's a hobby business. I smiled. It was, then it grew. Rachel looked at me now, really looked like she was seeing a stranger. What do you mean grew? Revenues tripled in 3 years, I said. Orders booked out 12 months. That's not possible without capital, Cynthia said. Correct, I said. I took on a silent investor. Martin's head snapped up. Who? I pulled my phone from my pocket and unlocked it. You know him, or you know of him. Cynthia stiffened. You didn't. I did, I said. Your firm's biggest competitor, the one who keeps poaching your commercial clients. Martin swore under his breath. Rachel's voice came out thin. You never told me that. You never asked, I said. Cole leaned back slowly. So this business, it's not small. I turned the phone so they could see my banking app, scrolled once, let the numbers sit there. Did all right this year? Rachel sucked in a sharp breath. Cynthia pushed her chair back an inch. This is highly inappropriate dinner conversation. You started it, I said. She pointed at my phone. Put that away. I did, slipping it back into my pocket. Just wanted everyone operating with the same information. Rachel's knees started bouncing under the table. Why are you doing this right now? Because I'm tired of being spoken for, I said, and sized up. Sophie crossed her arms. You're trying to embarrass her. No, I said. I'm removing confusion. Cynthia grabbed her wine glass and took a long drink. Rachel, darling, why don't you tell us about that charity gala next month? Rachel stared at her mother like she hadn't heard the question. What? The gala, Cynthia repeated, louder. The one you're helping organize. Rachel's mouth opened, closed. I don't think... I watched it hit her, the realization. This wasn't a warning shot. This wasn't me posturing. This was the floor shifting under her feet. Cole rubbed his hands together. So, just to be clear, if something were to happen here... The prenup holds, I said. End of story. Rachel looked at me, eyes glassy. You're acting like we're already done. I'm acting like an adult who reads contracts, I said. Martin finally spoke. Tom, I didn't realize your business had reached that scale. I nodded. I kept my head down and worked. Cynthia stood abruptly. Dessert. Let's have dessert. No one moved. Rachel's breathing went shallow. Mom, stop. Cynthia ignored her and looked at me. You've made your point. Not yet, I said. Rachel pushed her chair back, scraping the floor. I need some air. She stood, hands shaking, and walked toward the hallway without looking back. I pushed my chair back and stood. Rachel, I said, not raising my voice. Did you know Cole was coming tonight? She stopped in the hallway and turned halfway around. What? Of course I did. I mean, Mom invited him. That's not what I asked, I said, stepping closer. Did you know he was coming here, to our house? She blinked fast. I didn't think it mattered. Cole shifted behind me. You told me you were separated. The room snapped tight. Rachel spun around. I did not. You did, Cole said, louder now, panicked. You said you two were basically done, living separate lives. Sophie stood up so fast her chair tipped back. Rachel told me the same thing, she said, that Tom was emotionally unavailable and that he couldn't have kids. I laughed. I couldn't help it. One sharp bark that cut through the room. Wow, I said. That's impressive. Rachel stared at me. Why are you laughing? Because that's rich, I said, especially the kids part. Cole frowned. You told me? I had a vasectomy, I said, 3 years ago, after Rachel begged me to wait on starting a family until she felt ready. Rachel's face drained. That was private. So was lying, I said. I kept the paperwork, doctor's name, dates, follow-up tests. Sophie whispered, You said he refused. Rachel shook her head, backing up. I was just figuring things out. I pulled my phone out again. You figure things out at the Hampton Inn off Route 37, or the Marriott downtown? Cole's mouth fell open. You said those were work trips. They were charged to a separate card, I said. One Rachel didn't think I knew about. Rachel lunged for my phone. Stop! I stepped back. 4 stays, 2 cities. Same weekends you said you were visiting Sophie. Sophie's face went pale. You stayed with me once? Yeah, I said. The first time. Rachel's voice cracked. I didn't know what I wanted. Cynthia slammed her hand on the table. How dare you invade her privacy like this? I looked at her. You raised her. That gives you no right. She brought another man into my house, I said. On Christmas. Cole rubbed his forehead. Rachel, you said... She turned on him. I was confused. About being married? I asked. Martin finally stood. Rachel, is any of this untrue? She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Cynthia stepped between us. This is cruel. No, I said. This is confirmation. Rachel started crying then. Real sobs, hands over her face. I didn't plan for this. I nodded. You planned enough. I slipped my phone back into my pocket, turned away from her, and walked back toward the table. I slid back into my seat, watching Rachel crumble in the hallway like a bad performance that finally ran out of lines. Cynthia turned to Martin. You're just going to sit there while he humiliates her? I leaned my elbows on the table. You think that was bad? I looked at Cynthia. We haven't even gotten to the recordings yet. Her head snapped toward me. What? House has been wired for months, I said. Nothing fancy, just audio, living room, kitchen, office. You'd be amazed what people say when they think no one's listening. Sophie backed up a step. Jesus! Cynthia's face froze. That's illegal. Not in my own home, I said. Indiana's a one-party consent state. She blinked fast. That's unethical. So is setting your daughter up with a junior partner behind her husband's back, I said, or calling a matchmaker from my guest room. Rachel looked up suddenly, eyes wide. What? I didn't take my eyes off Cynthia. October 9th. You had a call with some woman named Marissa. Said your daughter was stuck in a dead-end marriage with a mechanic. Asked about someone ambitious, preferably childless. Younger and hungrier were the exact words. You're bluffing, she said. I shrugged. You want to hear the clip? Cynthia's throat worked, but no words came out. Rachel stood like she was about to collapse. Mom, you said you were supporting me. I was, Cynthia snapped. You said you were miserable. You told a stranger my marriage was a sunk cost. She twisted my words. Did she twist the other recording too? I asked. The one where you told Rachel she'd be better off with someone who could elevate her status? Cole stood up, napkin dropping to the floor. All right, this is way over my head. I should go. I looked up at him. Cole, stay for dessert. I made apple pie, Cynthia's favorite. He froze, like a deer hearing the gun cock. Rachel screamed. Stop it, just stop. You've ruined everything. Her voice cracked wide open. She slammed her hands against the wall, tears streaking down her cheeks. You were never supposed to do this. I kept my seat. Do what, Rachel? Listen? Pay attention? She pointed at me, shaking. You're sick. Cynthia stood fast, grabbing her wineglass with her whole fist, and hurled it across the room. It shattered against the far wall, red wine streaking down the plaster like blood. Martin stood slowly, with a calm I hadn't seen all night. Cynthia, sit down. She turned on him. Are you kidding me, after all this? He raised his voice. Sit down. Cynthia froze, stunned. She lowered herself back into her chair like the air had been knocked out of her. Martin turned to Cole. You can leave, son. Cole didn't argue. He backed away like he was dodging landmines. Grabbing his coat off the chair, Rachel sobbed into her hands. You were supposed to love me. I looked at her and shook my head once. I did. She stepped toward me, hands trembling. This wasn't the plan. That's the problem, I said. There shouldn't have been a plan. Martin waited until the front door shut behind Cole. Then he exhaled hard through his nose and looked right at me. Tom, he said, voice low but steady. I owe you an apology. I didn't know it had gotten this far. I nodded once. Appreciate that. He turned toward Rachel, who was still standing near the wall, like the ground was shaky. Is it true? He asked her. What he said, about the hotels, the lying. She sniffled and shook her head. No, he's twisting everything. I leaned forward. June 12th, Hampton Inn, room 218. October 6th, Marriott downtown. Card ending in 8432. Your name. Martin looked at her again. Is that false? Rachel wiped her face, silent. I asked you a question, he said, sharper now. She swallowed. It wasn't what it looks like. Then explain it, he said. Rachel opened her mouth, then shut it. Tears started again. Martin didn't raise his voice. You've been lying for months. I knew something was off, but I let your mother handle it. That was a mistake. Cynthia's head snapped toward him. Excuse me? He didn't even look at her. You crossed the line. I was protecting our daughter. No, he said. You were manipulating her, and pushing her to do the same. Rachel sobbed louder. This isn't what I wanted. I was trying to fix things. I shook my head. You were trying to trade up. That's not fair, she cried. You never supported my dreams. I stood. I supported you, not your mother's version of you, not the edited version who says all the right things at fundraisers and brunches. You don't get it, she said, voice breaking. They expected more from me. Yeah, I said. They always did. And you let them. Martin stepped between us. That's enough, both of you. Rachel sank into the nearest chair, head in her hands. Cynthia looked like she wanted to speak, but Martin cut her off with a raised hand. He looked back at me. I respected you, Tom. Still do. You've made your own way. That's more than I can say for most men I know. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. Rachel sat there crying. Cynthia stared at the floor like the fight had finally drained out of her. Martin stood in the middle of the room, jaw tight, watching his family come apart in real time, and I just stood there, steady, waiting for the moment to move. I walked to the hallway closet, pulled out my coat, and slid it on. Didn't rush, didn't look back. Rachel jumped up, wiping her face. Tom, wait, please. I kept moving. She grabbed my arm. You can't just leave. I looked down at her hand, then at her. Watch me. She shook her head, crying harder now. You're just walking away? After everything? I stepped back and zipped my coat. Everything ended the moment you brought another man to my table. Cynthia's voice shot across the room, shrill and furious. You think you're strong? You're nobody without this family. I turned toward her, calm as ever. I was never with this family. Martin stood from the chair and followed me down the hall. Rachel stayed behind, frozen like a broken statue. At the front door, Martin spoke low. If you need space, our place upstate is empty this time of year. Keys are in the shed behind the garage. Take it for as long as you want. I looked at him. That's generous. He nodded once. Rachel and her mother, they do this. It's how they survive. Push people until they fold. I tilted my head. You let them push you too. I did, he said. And I regret it every damn day. I looked him in the eye. You've always been quiet, Martin. Tonight, you finally said something. His voice cracked a little. I should have spoken up sooner. You and me both. He reached out, gave me a firm handshake. Whatever happens next, you've got my respect. You always have. You made something from nothing. That matters. I gripped his hand. Thanks. On Monday, I'm filing. Behind us, Rachel called out. You're throwing away a life we built. I turned around slowly, still by the door. No. You threw it away when you let Cole sit in my chair. She stepped forward. He meant nothing. You dressed him in my clothes, I said. Sat him at my table. Let your mother parade him around like a replacement I was supposed to applaud. Rachel sobbed. I was confused, Tom. I just wanted to feel. You wanted to feel chosen, I said. You always needed that. But you chose, Rachel. When you let them plan this night, you made your choice. She opened her mouth, reaching for words, but nothing came. I opened the door and let the cold air hit me like a reset button. I stepped outside without looking back. I walked down the icy porch steps, pulled the truck door shut, and fired the engine. Didn't even bother turning on the heat yet. My phone lit up before I backed out of the driveway. Rachel, 2 missed calls. Cynthia, 1 voicemail. Rachel, text. Please, just talk to me. I swiped it all away. Hit delete. Every voicemail, every message. Then I cranked the radio. Classic rock station. Tom Petty came through the speakers, telling me I didn't have to live like a refugee. Damn right I didn't. The road out of their neighborhood twisted through woods and long driveways lined with fake deer and solar-powered reindeer lights. I knew every curve by now. I'd driven this road 100 times, usually in silence, usually wondering how I ended up surrounded by people who saw me as temporary. A phase, a project. Rachel's voice used to be soft when she said it. You could have been so much more if you just followed Dad's path. That was her thing. Could have been. Never good enough as is. They all looked down their noses at the guy who rebuilt rusted Camaros instead of sitting in a glass office pushing paper. But I rebuilt that house with my own hands. I built my name, my business, my life, without shortcuts, without family money. And the people who claimed to love me spent years mocking me for not being a copy of Martin. And now they wanted me to beg for that seat back? Not a chance. I hit the highway, let the gas pedal drop a little heavier. The buzzing kept coming. Rachel again, Cynthia again. I silenced the phone, tossed it on the passenger seat. Then I grabbed the Bluetooth button and said, "Call Ben Crawford Mobile." My lawyer picked up on the second ring. "Tom, that time already?" "Yeah," I said. "I'm ready. You want to come in Monday or file remote?" "Remote's fine. Everything's lined up. Prenup, asset lists, full documentation." "You still sitting on that evidence?" "All of it," I said. "Audio clips, call logs, bank records, timeline cross-referenced. Hell, I could teach a seminar with this pile," he chuckled. "You want alimony?" "No, I want clean." "You'll get it. Appreciate it, Ben." I hung up and kept driving. Thought about Cole, the poor idiot. He walked into a loaded trap and had no idea he was the bait. I wondered if he realized it yet, if he'd figured out that Rachel didn't want him either. She just wanted the version of herself her mother could brag about. He was never a partner. He was a prop. The lights of Bedford showed up on the horizon. No mansions here, just pickup trucks and old diners and folks who fix what breaks instead of replacing it. My kind of place. I pulled into my driveway, the motion sensor light kicking on. The porch light I installed last fall cast a glow across the frost-covered steps. My house, my roof, my walls. The quiet hit me first, not empty. Quiet, no lectures, no backhanded compliments, no pretending to be smaller just to keep peace. I walked straight through the house, grabbed the scotch from the cabinet, poured 2 fingers into the heavy glass I liked most, and headed for the garage. My shop smelled like motor oil and leather and old tools. The new project sat waiting under the drop light. 69 Dodge Charger, frame still bare, sheet metal prepped. I took a long sip and exhaled hard. For the first time in years, there was no one watching, no one judging, no one trying to steer the wheel but me. I set the empty glass on the workbench and wiped my hands on a rag. My phone buzzed across the metal stool behind me. One new message from Martin. It was a photo, blurry, a little tilted, but I knew what it was, the painting, the one I did 6 years ago, before the wedding. Back when I was still taking side commissions, mostly landscapes, barns, the occasional portrait. This one had been different. Just a stretch of open Indiana field under a stormy sky. Rachel said it looked unfinished, said it made her feel claustrophobic. Now it was hanging behind Martin's office desk. Under the photo, he'd written, "I see something new in it now. Thank you." I stared at that message longer than I meant to. Something cracked loose in my chest, but not in a bad way. I smiled, not the fake one I used around Cynthia, not the tight-lipped one I'd been wearing for years, a real one, quiet, full. That painting didn't match their furniture, didn't come from a gallery, didn't signal wealth or status, but it was mine. A piece of who I was before they tried sanding it all down. I never sold out, never played a role just to fit at their table, not once. Christmas went off like a grenade, sure, but for the first time, the smoke cleared and I could see straight. I walked back into the house and checked voicemail. Rachel again, her voice soft, shaky. I shouldn't have brought him. I don't know why I did. Can we please just talk? I hit delete, then opened a new text and typed, file it, sent it straight to Ben. No more weighing it, no more waiting, no more trying to convince people I was enough. I stepped out the front door, boots crunching into fresh snow. Everything was still, quiet in a way only December nights could be. Cold air filled my lungs like a reset button. I looked out over the field behind the house, hands in my coat pockets, breath rising in front of me like smoke from a fire that finally burned out. Then I whispered it, low and clear. Best damn Christmas gift I ever gave myself. Thank you for being with us. Don't miss our new stories. They're coming soon. If you haven't yet, please leave a like and follow the page to see more great content. Your support means a lot to us and motivates us to create even more warm, meaningful stories. See you next time. Take care and stay curious.